Yashodanandana Vraja Janaranjana Yashodanandana Vraja Janaranjana Yashodanandana Vraja Janaranjana Yamuna Tira Vanachari Yamuna Tira Vanachari Yamuna Tira Vanachari Yamuna Tira Vanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Vihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Vihari Jaya Gopijana Vallabha Girivaradhari Jaya Gopijana Vallabha Girivaradhari Yashodanandana Vraja Janaranjana Yashodanandana Vraja Janaranjana Yamuna Tira Vanachari Yamuna Tira Vanachari Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Rama Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Rama Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Jai Radha Madhava ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Shri Shri Prabhupada ki jai. So should we do it in Danish or in English? English. Okay. So there's nothing on the whiteboard today, but I printed out the slokas. But I only have two, so Madhavi, you can look in the book maybe?
Yes.
Yeah. This is... Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
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 So, we are reading today from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto number 7, The Science of God. And it is the 3rd chapter, and it is verse number 14. Iti Vigyapata Devai Bhagavan Atmabhu Nripa Parita Brigu Daksha Adaya Yayo Daitya Isvara Ashramam Iti Vigyapito Devair Bhagavan Atma Bhurnripa Haritu Brigu Dakshadhyay Yayo Daichi Svarasram
Yayo Daiti Swarashramam.
Yayo Daichi Svarasramam.
Yayo Daiti Swarashramam. Iti Vigyapito Devair Bhagavan Atma Bhurnripa Parito Brigu Dakshadhyay Yayo Daitishvarashramam. Iti Vigyapito Devai
Bhagavan Atma Bhurnripa
Parito Brigu Dakshadhyay Parito Brigu Dakshadhyay
Yayo Daityeshvarashramam
Yayo Daityeshvarashramam
Mother, try.
Iti Vigyapito Devair Bhagavan Atma Bhutnipa Parito Brigu Dakshadhyay Yayo Daityeshvarashramam.
That's also difficult last one. Yeah, but it's personal. Okay. Iti thus Vigyapita informed Devai by all the demigods Bhagavan the most powerful Atmabhu Lord Brahma who was born from the lotus flower
Lord Brahma who was born by the lotus flower.
Nripa O King
Parita
being surrounded
Brigu
by Brigu Daksha Adyai and others Yayav went Daitya Iswara of Hiranyakashipu the king of the Daityas Ashramam to the place of austerities. O King, translation and heard by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada. O King, being thus informed by the demigods, the most powerful Lord Brahma, accompanied by Brigu, Daksha, and other great sages, immediately started for the place where Hiranyakashipu was performing his penance and austerities. Lord Brahma was waiting for the austerities performed by Hiranyakashipu to mature, so that he could go there and offer benedictions according to Hiranyakashipu's desire. Now, taking the opportunity of being accompanied by the demigods and great saintly persons, Brahma went there to award him the benedictions he desired. Iti vikyapito devair Bhagavan Atmabhurnipa Parito Brigu Dakshadhyay Yayav Daityeshvarashramam. O King, being thus informed by the demigods, the most powerful Lord Brahma, accompanied by Brigu, Daksha, and other great sages, immediately started for the place where Hiranyakashipu was performing his penance and austerities. Namo Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhuttaya Srimade Bhaktivedanta Swami Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Acharya Nirvishesha Shunyavadhyasya Satarini Jai Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shri Vasari Gaura Bhaktavinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama this is a very interesting part of Srimad Bhagavatam. I mean, the whole Bhagavatam is, of course, very interesting. this part is especially interesting because it very elaborately describes our situation, because we're not that different actually from Hiranyakasipu, many of us. I'm not speaking for all of us, but at least for myself and maybe some others. I don't want to speculate. I don't know, but in this verse, it is described how Brahma, he's starting off actually to go see Hiranyakasipu, who's doing severe austerities. And there are three kinds of persons, this is described in the Vedas. There are three kinds of persons. There are sarvakarmis, mokshakarmis, and akarmis. And sarvakarmis, that is the persons with lusty desires, which probably is most of us. And then there's the mokshakarmis. That is the next step actually. That means you want to get rid of, you want to get liberation because you are completely, how do you say that? You're so tired of the material disturbances and everything. You're worn out, completely worn out. Actually, that might be many of the people coming here, including ourselves. And akamis, that is the devotees, who just want to be completely free of desires. And Hiranyakasipu, he is very much a sarva karma. He has many lusty desires. He wants to enjoy intensely the material nature, and he also is very attached to the body he has. It's a strong body, and he completely identifies with it. So there's so much anger and lust compiled. He wants to enjoy his son. That is not allowed for him. He, whenever he tries to enjoy something, he gets frustrated. He turns to Brahma to get eternal life, but still, Nrsingadev, he comes and destroy that for him also. So everything is for him is complete suffering actually, because he's so distressed all the time. But we must say, still, he takes shelter in a higher authority. At this time, at least, he takes shelter of Lord Brahma to give him some boon, to give him something. Today, every person, all the people in the material world, they take shelter of the politicians. They take shelter of the rock stars. They take shelter of the movie stars. They take shelter of so many things. Most of the politicians, they are more or less criminals. They're not even on the Sutra platform. And the rock stars, they're drug addicts. They do nothing but sex, drugs, and rock and rolls. And the same goes for the movie stars. So we would say that we're not even on the, Hiranyakasipu, he was still on a higher material platform than we are. He had so many, and he made so many heavy austerities. And he got his boons also. He more or less, got eternal life as a boon from Lord Brahma. But he just forgot one thing, and it was that he didn't get it from Krishna. Even Lord Brahma is temporary. So in the Bhagavad Gita it says, Yehi sangsparsha jabo dukha yonaya evate ajantavanta konteya nacheshu ramate buddha. And that means that an intelligent person, he does not take part in sources of misery, which are due to the contact with the material senses. O son of Kundi, such pleasures have a beginning and an end, and a wise man does not delight in them. It means Hiranyakasipu, he was not very wise, and maybe neither are we. But he forgot one important point, he forgot he wants to actually have Krishna's position, like most of us also want. He forgot the peace formula, which is Bhuktaram Yagatapasam Sarvaloka Maheswaram Suridam Sarvabhuktanam Yakchamam Shantim Richati. That a person in full consciousness should be in full consciousness of Krishna, knowing him to be the ultimate beneficiary of all sacrifices and austerities. So these austerities he was performing, they should actually have been done for the pleasure of Krishna and not for his own sense gratification, which is the ultimate goal for Hiranyakashipu. He does this to have a beautiful, strong body with eternal life that he can enjoy. As you see, he was standing for 100 years of the demigods. He was standing on his toes like this. I cannot stand like that for 10 seconds, but he was standing for 100 years. Can you imagine that? What do they do today? They go into the fitness studio and they exercise for hours and hours, and even the result they get is not, the austerities they take, the bodybuilders, and they take drugs and all this to get bigger bodies. It's nothing compared to Hiranyakashipu, and still what they get out of it is a little bit. So we have to remember one thing. We have to remember that Krishna is the ultimate beneficiary of everything, and he is also the supreme lord of all planets and demigods. That means even Lord Brahma, he has a boss. Krishna, Vishnu. That is the person we have to attend to. That is the person we have to focus on. In Bhagavad Gita 9:27, Krishna says, Yat karosi yat ashnasi yat yahosi tatasi yat tapasasi kaunteya tat kuruso madapana. Whatever you do, whatever you eat, whatever you offer or give away, and whatever austerities you perform, do that, O son of Kunti, as an offering to me. That means it should have been done as an offering to Krishna, these austerities. That's why he's failing. So we are in this position, but still we are probably amongst the most fortunate of the fortunate souls in this material world, because we have been allowed to come to this ISKCON here, where Srila Prabhupada, he has given us the perfect solution to solve all our problems. So we are still in the material ocean, and there's ups and downs. Okay, even amongst devotees, when we're here, there's ups and downs, and we have suffering sometimes, and sometimes we are happy, sometimes we're in distress, and but all the time we have to understand one thing. We have to meditate on that. What does Krishna says in the Bhagavad Gita 2:14? It says, Macha sparsas tu konteya, shitoshna sukaduvada, agama payino nityas tamstitiksaso bharata. And that means that happiness and distress comes and goes like summer and winter seasons. And we just simply have to understand that it is because we have it's because of sense perception. We think we are this body and we experience things through our senses. And there's only one thing to do. We have to learn not to be disturbed by it. And that is, as long as we have this, we're on the material platform and we still see ourselves as the body, ahankara. Maybe we are even, on a little higher platform, we still see ourselves as a subtle body, but still, it's mind intelligence, it's still the material platform. Then these things will come and go. So all the time we have to meditate on these things. That actually it's a temporary situation. That means whenever we are in distress, okay, it will stop eventually, so we don't have to be so distressed. And we also, when we are happy, we have to not to be that ecstatic. But, it will also be over in a while. So yeah. Now it's going our way, so to say. Wow. Then now it's a little bit heavy. Joy. Because there's actually an analogy. Like I said, we are all in the same boat. We are in the boat of floating on the material ocean. But it is a boat. So we are floating. We're not drowning right now because we are together in ISKCON. So we are in the boat. But the boat is going up and down, so it can be quite a rocky ride, so to say. But this boat ride, there's one thing, if you go into the internet and Google this, when you're sailing ships with a sail, there's something that means sailing into the wind. And that's like, okay, you have the wind against you, that's a little bit, so that means, now we have difficulties maybe in our life, then we can meditate on this, it's a little difficult, but when you have a boat, there's actually something called, when you Google it, called tacking, or taking, I don't know exactly how it's pronounced, tacking is as I read it, and that means sailing into the wind. And that's the thing, when the boat, they have, they sort of tighten all the sails and they go into the wind, not directly into the wind, but like maximum in a 45 degrees angle, and then the boat tips over and it starts going faster. It's not, it's not the direct against the wind, but it's 45 degrees angle, and it actually goes even faster than sailing with the wind. That means that when we have some opposition in our lives, that means when we have difficulties in our lives, we can actually, by this analogy, understand that that is the time where we can advance most in our spiritual life. So we don't have to be sorry, we don't have to be very morose. We can just, of course, it can be difficult to be ecstatic when everything is difficult, but we can at least say, thank you, Krishna, for giving me this opportunity. Now it's really going fast, because we're going into the wind, but we should also be careful because it's a very thin line. As soon as you cross this 45 degrees angle on the sail, you will have the wind directly against you and the boat will stop, and a lot of things can happen to the boat and you have to reorganize, and then you have to, what happens is they go into the wind like this. I don't know if you have seen it. And then all of a sudden, I don't know the commands, the one at the steering wheel, he shouts something, and everyone runs to the other side and they turn around, so the whole boat, it goes like this, while it still has the speed. And then it catches the wind and goes, so it goes like this, and this, and this, but still it goes much faster than going directly or going with the wind, because there's such a pressure on the sail and the boat, it's like really speedy. But sailing the boat into the wind at a high speed, it is very difficult, and it's a group effort. It's not something you do alone. There's a whole crew on this ship, and that's also where we are now. So we should also, that's why it's so important that we are together. Never do it alone, Never sail into the wind alone. Always be with the devotees. When you have difficulties, don't isolate yourself. I want to, take care of my problems. I don't want to speak to anyone. I just want to know it's difficult. This is my problem. It's not. No. The more difficult it is, the more we should desire. The more we should be together with the devotees. It's so important. And together with the devotees, we can study all the theory about how the boat works. Actually, this boat we're on now is ISKCON, the boat of Bhakti Yoga that is taking us over the material ocean. We can study together and we can practice together exactly how this boat is working and how we can, the fastest possible way, we can cross the material ocean and come to the other side of the material ocean and simply come to Krishna. That we can study together. There's so many things on a boat, there's so many details. And also another thing is, if for some reason the boat turns over just a little bit too much over the 45 and we stopped, and maybe what is called the mast, what was it in English?
Sail.
It breaks or something, what do? You're in the middle of the ocean, oh no, the sail broke, okay, we're done. And then you just jump in the ocean. You're in the middle of the ocean, would you jump in the ocean and just, even though the sail breaks? No, we will have difficulties sometimes, the sail breaks, but we stay in the boat.